Okay, so we imported all our elements. We're looking at the background layer so we can see how our elements are referenced in the real world. And then we brought the ground elevation data for all our elements, which can be read here. Ground elevation for all of our nodes was imported. And if we take a quick look at the catch basins, we can see, where did my flex tables go? Here they are. We can take a look at the elevation. First, the ground elevation. So I'm going to sort this descending. So the highest point is I-9, which is located. Let's just zoom to it so we get familiar with the use of those features. So this is I-9, our highest elevation. I-5 over here is our lowest ground elevation, 196. And the invert elevation for that in particular is 191 feet. Okay, so this is the information that we were given when we imported the data from T-Rex. And then we said, okay, we're going to run this. And we just want to remember some of our design constraints. We knew that we wanted to have a minimum cover of 2 feet. And for our inlets, we knew that we had a maximum allowable spread of 8 feet. We never wanted the gutter depth to be more than half a foot. And for the on-grade inlets, we wanted to guarantee that at least 50% of the flow to it would be intercepted. Okay, so that's what we set. And the first thing we did is we computed the model exactly the way we had it without any modifications, and that's our existing scenario. Well, obviously we imported storm data and we're running this for a 10-year storm event. So let me just show that. So we had all these IDF curves, but the one that we're using for this scenario, as we can see in the global storm events, is our 10-year storm. All right, so for that 10-year storm event, I made a color coding here, and you can see first the diameter of the pipes. So underground we have pipes that are 8-inch, this light yellow, and then we have 10, well, 10 and 12 are almost the same color. Should have picked a better one. We have 16-inch, 18-inch, and I think this is 24, yeah. So that's how we had our system. And when we run it, I have my catch basins color coded by this field called is ever overflowing. And if it is, it's going to look red and a little bit bigger. So you can see that I do have inlets that are overflowing, inlet 7 and inlet 8. And we can take a look at a profile. I have created already a profile. My profiles are here. And let's take a look at this profile, which is going to show us from I-9 down Willow Street and then over here to our outlet. And we grab that and bring it over. So we are certainly having flooding in those two catch basins, as we saw in those big red squares. And it seems to be caused by these small diameters, right? So we had that problem. And notice that I have also done a annotation on the catch basins to see what the spread is. So we had problems there, and we also had a problem with the spread. So notice that at I-5, which is an in-sag inlet, we had 14 feet of spread. So that violates our 8 feet requirement. Let me just show you here. Some of our inlets are on grade, so I'm going to sort this, and some are in sag. So let's take a look first at the ones that are in sag. I'm going to turn all my color coding off, and I'm going to select these 3 in the drawing. Zoom out a little bit. So these 3 are in sag. By now you're probably really familiar with that term, but what that means is that it's a low point on the road profile, and all the gutters basically flow to it, and that flow that arrives there has to go into the underground system through that inlet. So it cannot flow out of the gutters in those 3 locations. And this one in particular, I-5, is problematic because the dimensions of that inlet, which we'll take a look at in a minute, generate that large spread of 14 feet. Okay, all the remainder inlets are on grade, which means some of the water is intercepted and the rest follows down the gutter. So let's take a look at that inlet 5. Okay, so we have it set to be 2.5 feet of length, and remember this is our combination, so it's a grate and curb at the same time, and the length of the curb opening is 3.9 feet. Okay, so we were not really satisfied with this model as it is because we were having those issues, right? So flooding of our nodes and a large spread on this road. So we decided we were going to ask the software to redesign that for us. And so we went to our design alternative, and we asked the following. We said, okay, make sure that the inlets are the constraints that we've entered. And we said, don't design every single inlet. I only want you to design the ones that are problematic. So inlet 5, which is this one right here, the in-sag that had that big spread, and inlet 7 and 8, which are these 2 that we're getting the, go back here and show that. For the previous scenario, I'm sorry. They were having that flooding at those 2 locations, okay? So those are the 3 inlets we want to resize. And we also said that we wanted to modify these pipes, the ones on Willow Street that were causing problems. And our restriction here was to say, okay, design P10, P9, and P11. So I'm just going to sort this. So P9, P10, and P11. But notice that P10 is connecting to an existing structure here. So we do not want to modify that invert elevation. So we said for P10, do not design the stop invert, but design the start invert, and for the other 2, design both. And that's it. We're basically telling it to maintain, for those that it's going to design, maintain that minimum maximum velocity, minimum maximum cover, minimum maximum slope, and we leave everything default, and we just tell it, okay, when you're designing those pipes, make sure that you are using the pipes in my conduit catalog, which are circle concrete. Okay, so it can choose from the 8-inch all the way to 120-inch diameter concrete pipes. All right, so we run it, and this is what the design came up with. So remember the diameter. So it increased the diameter for P10, P9, but P11 it left it the same size. So this remained 8, but these are now 10-inch and 10 inch. Okay, now let's take a look at that profile now. Okay, so nice. Notice that we do still have some in other pipes that we didn't modify or we couldn't uh, change. We didn't ask the design to redesign them. We do see a little bit of hydraulic grades, but the energy isn't too much, too critical. So we would not modify those. Okay, so here's what it did. And just to remember, I'm going to go back to the original profile. You notice that it did increase it modified the invert elevation at the beginning was 195. And in the next profile, it did, let's see where it did change that. Because we said the minimum cover was 2 feet, so it kept exactly 2 feet of cover here. Again, remember we said yesterday, it always tries to minimize the cover so that it doesn't have to pay, to cost that much for excavation. So it changed that. That's why we see a very steep pipe. Remember we said do not modify this invert elevation. So this pipe is looking a little steep, and we can tell that by the energy grade line. All right, so now it does look better. The spread on this inlet now is 0.9 feet, and this one 5.7, so we're good. The other inlet that it designed was I5, and the spread now is 7.9 feet. Okay, and look at the new dimensions. So it had to make it really big. Now it's 17.7 feet length and 17.7 curb length. Now let me remind you what it was. It was 2.5 feet and 3.9. So I had to make it really big in order to collect all that flow that was coming to it, because remember also this is an in-sag inlet. All right, so it makes sense. Let's just take a quick look at how it changed this inlet. So it went from 2.5 and 3.9, and then the new one is 3.9, 3.9. So I did increase it slightly. So notice that um, it has the ability to decide which length is going to be. Okay. Same here. We had 2.9, 3.9, 2.5, 3.9, and it went to 3.9, 3.9. Okay. Um, so let's see just one more thing that the exercise had us do, which was to compare scenarios. So I'm going to show you how that is done. If you don't want to just keep switching back and forth and looking at individual designs or looking at the profiles back and forth, you can use this as well. So all I did was grab the, just a refresher of what we did, created a new scenario comparison. Basically, we have two scenarios, so we pick one in each of these drop-down menus, and it selects those differences. It tells us the differences are in the physical alternatives as well as the design alternatives. So we really are interested in what changed physically. So we step on physical, click on compute, and it tells specific differences. So what changed about our pipes? Well, we knew that the invert stop for this wasn't going to change, but the inverts of all the others changed, and it increased the diameter for these two pipes, which are P9 and P10, but it remained 8-inch for P11. And for the catch basins, here is exactly what I was showing you earlier. New dimensions versus the old dimensions. And here we have for I7, I8, and I9, the invert elevation changed. So the inlet itself changed for 7 and 8 because we were redesigning those. It did modify the inlet opening for I9, but it did change the invert elevation as part of that new pipe run design. Okay.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.